The biggest of the 5 Great Lakes of North America, Lake Superior is a behemoth to behold, straddling the border of the United States and Canada. Within the 30,000 miles of watery landscape lies remote Royale National Park, Michigan's only national park. The history, as well as the wildlife and attractions that populate the island, make Isle Royale one of the nation's least altered, spectacular national parks. Let's explore the wonders of Isle Royale. Visitors cannot drive to Isle Royale, instead having to take a ferry or seaplane to access the park. 2 major ports reside on the island at Rock Harbor and Wendigo, and many hikes, such as the 42.5-mile Greenstone Ridge Trail that traverses the length of the island and is a popular trail for backpackers, start at them. Hiking is actually one of the best forms of transportation on the island, since no roads are in the national park, and for those looking to view Isle Royale from the lake, additional ferries besides the ones that take visitors to the island offer tours around the shores of the park. And visitors wanting to get close up with the water can travel by canoe or kayak among the many waterways surrounding and coursing through the park. Fishing is also popular in the area, with catches like lake trout and lake whitefish being pulled from the depths of Lake Superior, and northern pike and walleye being caught within the interior of the island. However, fish aren't the only things that lie below the surface of the waters at Isle Royale, and this is where the history of the island begins. Volcanic rocks from the distant past form one end of a geological fold that pops up above the surface as Isle Royale, while the other end forms the Keweenaw Peninsula. The landscape was then changed around by the glacial masses of the most recent ice age, and when the glaciers finally retreated, the Great Lakes were formed, and remnants of the massive structures were left on Isle Royale, including the many interior lakes of the island. Many years passed, and once native peoples and later Europeans discovered the seclusive island, they started mining the area in search of copper ore. Most of the 19th century, the area was used as a mining operation until around 1881, when the waters around the isle saw a growth in tourism and cargo routes between cities on the mainland. However, a dangerous passage of water between Passage Island and Blake Point on the eastern tip of the island proved to be a watery grave for some ships passing through the area, including the SS Monarch, sunk in 1906 during a crossing in the passage on her last trip of the season. The Monarch, along with several other wrecked vessels on the shores of Isle Royale, can be explored by experienced scuba divers who visit the wrecks for exploration or scientific purposes. To ensure ships have safe passage to the waters of Superior, 4 lighthouses were built on the property: the Rock of Ages on the western coast, Passage Island on the eastern coast, the Isle Royale on the south coast, and the Rock Harbor in the inlet is named after. The former 3 lighthouses remain active to this day, while Rock Harbor was retired in 1879. All of the lighthouses serve as reminders that the Great Lakes are still as wild as ever, and Lake Superior is no exception. Eventually, however, the shores of Lake Superior began to become industrialized with the increase of shipping cargo across the Midwest and Canada, and environmentalists became concerned about the rapidly disappearing wilderness along the Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota coastline, as well as the islands surrounding and including Isle Royale. Therefore, Isle Royale National Park was established to protect the islands in 1940. Several decades later, Isle Royale received additional protection as an international biosphere reserve for its exceptional plants and animals. But what exactly are those plants and animals? As mentioned earlier, many species of fish populate the waters of Isle Royale, but multiple land-faring animals can also be seen while visiting the park. One of the most popular animals to see are moose, who were introduced to the island in the early 1900s, and the population stands somewhere between 500 and 2,000 today. Drastic changes in moose population can be tracked to their only predator on the island, the gray wolf. Introduced to the park in the 1940s, the wolves keep the moose population in check but don't expect to see one on a visit. The creatures are elusive and avoid human interaction. However, eagle-eye viewers may be able to spot one tucked away in a distant field or along a secluded lakeshore. Other residents of the park include Minnesota state bird, the common loon, as well as Canada geese, several species of hawks, and smaller birds. Very few mammals call the island home, but visitors can see otters, weasels, and beavers making their homes among the many streams inside the park, and at night several species of bats fly overhead, filling the night sky with activity. The plants at Isle Royale make up what is known as a boreal, or snow forest, populated with pine and spruce trees that dominate the landscape. Scattered along the ground lie many variants of ferns, mosses, and lichens that call Isle Royale home, thriving in the cooler temperatures of the park's northern location. The plants and animals of Isle Royale are alive and ever-changing, so be on the lookout for them if you take a visit. In today's world of urbanization, it can be hard to find a place where one can be surrounded by the primitive wilderness of nature at its finest, but Isle Royale offers just that, an isolated paradise filled with history and nature changing through the seasons to represent the untouched beauty of America's northern lake country. We hope this guide was informative, and we'll catch you next time.